Okay, so today I'm basically talking about resilience, and I'm calling this message how to have a bounce back mindset, how to bounce back from a setback, how to bounce back when things didn't work out very well. And obviously, like I'm going to say today, you have to bounce back in your mind first. My name is 𝓡𝓮𝓼𝓲𝓮𝓮. This is a company called Mind Prosperity, and we are focusing on mental health and mental well-being. And we are also doing individual sessions. I'm doing individual sessions, group sessions. I'm doing sessions in the workplace, in companies, with families. If you want to contact me, my email address will be on the screen. And I'm willing to do these sessions worldwide via social media platforms. Please feel free to make contact with us. So I want to call this message how to have a bounce back mindset. I was thinking about this. How do you set something? You know, when you set an alarm clock, when you set a date, you are actually saying that by this time at this moment, the following will happen. And I kind of plan my life around it. I plan my schedule around it because I am set to do something. Now you have to set your mind to bounce back. You have to set your mind to be resilient. And that's basically what I want to talk about. Research confirms that imagination is a neurological reality that can impact our brains and bodies in ways that matter for our well-being. Meaning imagination really has an impact on our body. Now, imagination, science teaches us that your body doesn't know the difference between what you imagine and what you're actually experiencing with your senses. And we don't know how important imagination is. And why is imagination so important when it comes to resilience? Because when you fall, when you fail, when you go through something bad, when you go through a disappointment, you tend to start imagining bad things. You know, let me say not you, let me say people tend to have a bad imagination or a bad experience or a bad expectation. This is why it's important to have a bounce back mindset. This is why it's important to have a resilient mindset, that every single time something bad happens, every single time something disappointing happens in your life, you can get to that place where you say, okay, I'm going to get my imagination again at the right place. I'm going to get my expectation at the right place. Although reality showed me some disappointment, although reality showed me something bad, I'm going to get my imagination and my expectation at the right place. Again, in this research that I just mentioned, what they did is they saw what happened in people, or they tried to see what happened in people's brains when they imagined something and when they were really exposed to it. So they found that if people just imagine a fear like a spider or a fear like a barking dog, the same thing happened in their brain when they imagined it and when they were actually exposed to it. Actually getting over a fear or a phobia like that, you have to be exposed to the stimulus. And they saw in this study that, you know, they didn't expose people to the stimulus, meaning they didn't like gave them a real spider or exposed them to the fear. What they said is they said they must imagine that they don't have that fear anymore. They must actually imagine that the spider is walking on their hand. And they realized that just through imagination alone, they could get over that fear and over that phobia. And this is how important imagination is. Lucy Horn, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, said adversity doesn't discriminate. Everyone deals with tough times. So it doesn't matter who you are. You know, there's a saying that says we are all in the same boat. And I think it sounds great, but it's actually not true. I heard another saying that I think is more accurate that said, we are not all in the same boat, we are all in the same storm. Some people are in a big boat, some people are in a yacht, some people are in a ship, some people are in a rubber duck, some people are in a canoe, and some people are swimming, although we are in the same storm. So yes, circumstances is different, but when we have a bounce back mindset, when we have a bounce back imagination, you can get people in some of the worst circumstances that get themselves into the greatest places eventually in life. I'm not saying necessarily that I'm a person who loves flowers. I actually love gardens. My mom is actually brilliant in making gardens, so I've always been exposed to beautiful gardens. But one specific or particular flower I really like is a lotus, and maybe one day I will do a video about a lotus. And one thing that I really like about lotus is one of the most beautiful flowers that you can get, but it only grows in extremely dirty water. And the idea I got from that is some of the most beautiful, some of the greatest circumstances comes out of some of the worst circumstances. Some of the most beautiful, some of the greatest people comes out of the worst circumstances. So you can be in bad circumstances, you can have faced a lot of disappointment in your life, but if you get your mindset right, if you get your imagination right, if you can deal with things, and if you can have a bounce back mindset, you can build a great life out of bad times and out of bad circumstances. There's a few things we have to realize to have a bounce back mindset, or to have this resilient mindset. And we have to realize that bad things is a part of life. By that, I'm not saying expect bad things, but by that, I'm not saying have an imagination for bad things. That would be contradictory to what I've said all the time. But what I am saying is when bad things happen in life, don't see it as, this is like out of this world, that shouldn't have happened, this doesn't happen to anybody else, it only happens to me, because some people have that reaction when bad things happen. So this is one thing I can say in this video, and it might not be one of the most encouraging things that I'm going to say right now, or that I'm saying right now, but it's a reality of life, and it actually helps us to know that bad things is a part of life. Bad things don't happen because you're a bad person. Bad things happen because life happens to us. Now, when bad things happen, this doesn't mean that you have to accept it as final, and this also doesn't mean that this should control you. This does mean that although bad things happen, it's not final. I can bounce back from this, I can be resilient out of this, and I can create something beautiful out of this. And another thing we have to know is that when bad things happen, you know that you have control over how this affects you. You might not have had control over what happened. You might not have had control over the damage that it has done, but you have control over how it affects you. And if you decide to say, listen, this can cause me to back down, this can cause me to stop with my vision, this can cause me to quit, or you can say, listen, although this hurt me, it will not cause me to quit, I will carry on in some manner. Or you can say, and the third one is the one that I want to advise you to do, or you can say, listen, I'm going to use this bad experience, this disappointment, this fall, this failure to actually make me stronger. And that's what resilience is all about. But like I'm saying, if you want to be that person that actually gets strength out of a bad situation, you have to have a resilient mindset. And we have this saying where people say tough times make you stronger. That's not 100% accurate, because tough times doesn't necessarily make you stronger. Tough times can make you stronger. Tough times can only make you stronger if you handle tough times correctly. If you handle tough times with the right mindset, if you handle tough times with a resilient, if in tough times you make the right decisions. And I want to say, if in tough times you surround yourself with the right people, yes, then definitely tough times can make you stronger. But if you go through tough times, you're not necessarily going to get stronger if you don't have the right mindset and if you don't have the right principles. But I do want to say, when you go through a tough time, you have the ability to become stronger out of it and do the right things so that you can become stronger. That is what a healthy mindset is, and that is what a resilient mindset is all about. And then, when we go through these things, sometimes it does feel like it's overpowering us. Sometimes it does feel like situations and disappointments is stronger than us. And another thing that you have to do then is you have to know your limits and ask for help when needed. So it's actually extremely important to say, listen, I want to bounce back out of this. I want to be resilient out of this. I want to get out of this stronger, but I need some help in some areas. Maybe you need help in your emotions. Maybe you need help in your thinking, and that's where you can go see a counselor or a psychologist. You might need help in your finances, in your budgeting, in your business. That's where you go see a business professional to maybe give you some advice. It might be in your marriage. You might go see a marriage counselor, or you just might need some friends around you to support you and to help you. So never feel bad if you want to get to that place to say, listen, I've made up my mind, I'm getting stronger out of this. I've made up my mind, I'm going to have a great imagination, but at this moment there are things that I feel I cannot face alone. I need help, I need counsel, I need the right people around me. This is extremely important to make sure that you don't do this by yourself. Know your limits, know where you are weak at the moment, and know where you have to go to get some strength and to get some help. And this is why it's so important also to have encouraging, motivating, strong-willed people with a great resilient mindset in your life. And then you have to keep the vision alive. You have to keep the imagination alive. Whatever you imagined in the beginning, whatever your vision was in the beginning when you started, before you went through some disappointments, you have to keep the same vision. You have to keep the same imagination, and you shouldn't quit on what you have set out to do. Because like I said, whatever you decide to do, whatever you imagine, whatever your goal, whatever your vision is, in the meantime or in the process, there will be some falls, there will be some failures, there will be some disappointments. We cannot get out of that. We don't plan for it, we don't imagine it, we don't expect it, but we do handle it when it comes, and we don't change the vision, we don't change the goal. Because if we stay resilient, if we keep on having a healthy mindset, eventually we will reach that, and even maybe more. There are some people who actually overexceeded their goals, overexceeded their plans, overexceeded their vision just because they decided not to stop. So I want to encourage you to carry on. I want to encourage you to have a bounce back and a resilient mindset, because I know if we can just keep on, we will do what we have set out to do, and the vision and the goal will become true. I hope this helped you from Mind Prosperity. We really love you. If you believe that this video and this message can help other people out there, please send it to them, because it's really important for us that you reach what you set out to reach, and that you become the person that you are set out to become. Thank you so much for watching. We love you, and we will see you soon again. Goodbye.